everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Happy Monday afternoon, evening, whatever you want to call it. Approaching the 5 o'clock time frame, and as you take a look at I-20 from West Monroe into Monroe, except for Pecanland Mall, where apparently the traffic camera, all these traffic cameras courtesy of LADOTD, is pointing up for some reason. They'll get it fixed. But as you make your way along I-20, we are starting to see a little bit of just volume backup issues. We were just out by the mall, so while you can't see anything happening traffic cam-wise, I can attest that up until about 15 minutes ago, things were moving relatively smoothly. And you can also see that there's not a whole lot of cloud cover out there. That's the plus to having one traffic cam pointed way up into the sky, is that we can actually see the fact that there's very limited cloud cover across the region this afternoon. The high-resolution infrared satellite shows really just a few occasional high clouds, quite a bit of sunshine across the area today after we got rid of the morning fog, and the low clouds were kind of pesky in the Ark-La-Tex region. But for most of our area, it was sunshine, especially as we worked later into the day. Gloria, good afternoon to you as well. Radar is always made possible by Brown's Roofing. If the radar has been unkind to your roof, schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. No rainfall. Boy, we need some. And it's not just, hey, we need something to talk about. Hey, it's boring outside, blah, blah, blah. We're drought condition-wise continuing to get worse. And we're at a point where we are continuing this downhill slide in terms of drought conditions that we're digging ourselves a deeper and deeper hole with the lack of rainfall. So we really need to start kind of pulling ourselves out of that drought hole and you would rather do that kind of methodically or over a gradual period of time, because then you start thinking, okay, the law of averages catch up with us. We start getting a lot of rain through the area, and then what happens? Well, spring's right around the corner, and then you're going to start getting your normal springtime rain, and then you go from drought to flood really quick. It happens. I know it sounds silly, but the law of averages balances out very, very delicately here. Temperatures across the area are in the 60s and 70s, 72 in Baton Rouge, 68 in Monroe, 64 in Little Rock, 61 in Ruston, 68 in Camden, 64 in Vicksburg. Most of us generally in the mid to upper 60s, and that's where we were expecting to land today. Forecast highs for today were 66, 68, 69 in El Dorado, Monroe, and Natchez, respectively. So again, we were in the ballpark there. Janice, Ethel, good afternoon, good evening to both of you. Wind speeds generally in the 5 to 10 mile an hour range out of the south. They've been occasionally breezy or gusty at times, and I would expect that to be the case again tomorrow. In fact, those winds could be sustained in the 12 to 14 mile an hour range through the afternoon hours tomorrow. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe. A new year means new models on all ATVs and side-by-sides. Go see Mike and the gang for more. Fog expected to develop overnight tonight, mainly during the wee hours of your Tuesday morning, as small fist bangs on the door from the outside. I would assume that would be the small child. If not, my wife was knocking on the door at a very, very low height. And she wouldn't do that. Anyway, fog will increase across the area by around daybreak. Visibility this morning in some of the southern and western counties and parishes was less than a half mile, and it was like that for an extended period of time. I would expect fog to perhaps be a smidge more widespread tomorrow morning. So we'll keep an eye out on that as we go through the overnight and early morning hours. Again, I would think by 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, at the very earliest, is when we would probably start to see fog formation to a magnitude where we would start to become concerned about, travel and things of that nature. Checking to make sure that we didn't have any dense fog advisories. We don't. But again, something to keep an eye on as we go through the day, through the morning hours tomorrow. Fog shouldn't hang around for too terribly long. I would think by around 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 at the very latest. That's probably about as late as we could go with the fog. Jan, good evening to you. Jane, good evening to you. Yeah, she's got a pair of lungs on her, so every now and then you're going to hear her screaming. Winds back out of the south. Cloud cover increases, and along with the fog overnight, expect visibility to be limited. Kind of a gloomy start to the day tomorrow. But again, visibility should improve relatively quickly. Skies should clear out relatively quickly. We do wiggle a weak front through the area tomorrow night. that should reset temperatures at least a few degrees for Wednesday. Again, if you joined us midday, we go from a high temperature of 77 to 74 Tuesday to Wednesday. So this front is cooler, but not dramatically cooler, and we're still way above normal for this time of year. Winds back out of the south as we go through the early parts of the day on Thursday, through Wednesday and into Thursday, sets the stage for Disturbance 1 to move through the region. That likely generates showers and storms across much of the Ark-La-Tex, the I-30 corridor stretching through portions of the Ozarks. That lead disturbance generally kind of misses us a smidge to the northwest. We'll talk about that at length in just a second. And then the actual front advances through the area during the day on Friday, setting us up especially along the Mississippi Valley with a narrow corridor of showers and thunderstorms. Some of those storms possibly strong, and then it advances off to the east. So here's a look at mid-level winds. And I really was frustrated at how I was telling this story earlier today. And then I found, and it's so silly to say this, but I found this color palette in terms of winds, and I think this genuinely tells the story of the mid-levels of the atmosphere a little bit better. Obviously, when you're looking in the mid-levels, strong winds or dips in the jet stream are our type of, MO, what we're looking for in terms of storm systems and things of that nature. So in the short term, again, we've been really ruled by this ridge of high pressure that's positioned out over the central and northern Gulf. It's kept us dry, kept us quiet. As we go through the next couple of days, we'll have an upper disturbance. The lead disturbance is what I keep calling it, that ejects out of the Baja California coastline. You probably saw it dart out of that area. And it's led by this area, this streak of winds. We would call this a mid-level jet streak. But basically, it's all part of this upper disturbance in the atmosphere, ejecting off to the north and east. So again, when you put that in perspective with our area as it's moving farther and farther away from the region, it's going to take the best winds, the strongest winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which is needed to generate thunderstorms and things of that nature, takes it off to the north and east along with it. Then, as we go into the day on Friday, the main trough of low pressure, the main, what we would call the parent storm system, the main event, if you will, which has the colder air attached to it and has the cold front that will swing through the region. That starts interacting with our very warm, humid environment as we go through the day on Friday. So again, you see these mid-level winds, but there's also out ahead of the trough itself another kind of area of stronger mid-level winds. And this also translates down into the low levels of the atmosphere where there's a low-level jet streak as well. So that positioned in tandem with this advancing trough, which is providing some lift in the atmosphere, does set up a corridor across much of the lower Mississippi Valley and the mid-Mississippi Valley for the possibility of some organized thunderstorm potential. But it all depends on the timing. This is at about 7:30 in the morning, which would set this jet streak, this area, this best area, up through the lower and mid-Mississippi Valley during the late morning and early afternoon hours on Friday, which would, again, kind of be an optimal area and optimal window of opportunity to generate some strong to severe thunderstorms. That system moves quickly on through, brings some cooler air in its wake. Upper-level patterns kind of left in flux as we go through the early parts of next week, but we will be with cooler, more seasonal air for this time of year. Again, average highs should be in the mid to upper 50s. Average lows should be in the upper 30s. And that storm system kind of gets us back to where we should be, at least in terms of seasonal or statistical averages, norms, whatever you want to call it. Again, what an amazing, I feel so much better trying to explain that with that color palette of showing those winds. I don't know why it makes that much of a difference to me, but it does. This is the severe weather threat for the day on Friday. I wouldn't be surprised to have some sort of, that's not right. Let me redraw that. Hang on. Let me zoom this out. So you can do this kind of stuff now. I wouldn't be surprised to have a severe storm threat area for Thursday in that area that I've circled there. Again, that's not us. But I wouldn't be surprised. This is the severe threat for Friday. And again, these threat areas will continue to be shaped and changed and molded as the computer model data and the forecast data becomes more and more clear as to what we will be dealing with as we go through, Thursday and Friday. Again, that lead disturbance Thursday brings scattered storm potential to our region. Friday looks to be the best potential for rain, thunderstorms, and maybe some organized, isolated, strong to severe thunderstorms. Do I expect this to be some sort of significant regional severe weather outbreak where we're dealing with this really, really deep concentration of strong to severe storms all across the entire area? No, not particularly. But a few storms could get relatively strong as we go through the day on Friday, especially right now in my mind with how things are shaping up, especially along the Mississippi Valley. So I have the telestrator equipped here, so I can do this. But I'm generally talking. Doggone it, Jared. I think this part of the outlook area for Friday probably has the best chance for strong to severe storms. That's just how things shape up for right now. Again, it's Monday. We're talking about something that's going to happen on Friday. We got a lot of time to kind of get cute with the forecast, as I mentioned earlier today, in terms of talking about timing, specific threats, who has a better threat versus others. Like, we have a lot of time to do that. So we won't just sit here and harp on it too much right now. Susie, Claudia, thanks so much for joining in. Patchy fog could become widespread as we head through the overnight. Lows will fall into the mid to upper 50s. The 56s and 57s that you'll see for overnight lows, you'll probably hit it around midnight, and you will trend warmer, probably closer to 60 by around daybreak tomorrow. Winds will be breezy out of the southwest as we go through the afternoon tomorrow with daytime highs in the mid to upper 70s. The occasional cloud cover, but again, dealing with fog and limited visibilities to start the day. Checking the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Just swung by there today to see the gang. They've got a little bit of anything that you could ever need there. Faucet covers, the styrofoam insulated faucet covers for your outdoor water faucets, things of that nature. Blackstone griddles, the big green eggs, any of your barbecue equipment as you get ready for springtime. They got it all squared away. Go see Matt and the gang. 7-day forecast shows mid to upper 70s Wednesday, Thursday. Friday is probably our best opportunity for strong to severe thunderstorms. Could see a rogue strong storm on Thursday. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. We trend cooler for Saturday, Sunday, Monday with highs in the low 50s for the early parts of next week. Morning lows fall back into the 30s and 40s. Could see the freezing mark by Monday morning. So kind of a topsy-turvy next 7 days. Early half of the next 7 days, warm, very warm for this time of year. We bring the cold front in, the storm threat, maybe some isolated severe weather, and then colder air to follow for the weekend and early next week. And that's how things shake up on this Monday. Kiddos, a lot of the kiddos are headed back to school tomorrow. Everybody starts to kind of get back to normal tomorrow. Today was relatively normal. Tomorrow, with all of the schools generally back in, normal, the holiday season is officially kind of done. Sandra, hello. Susie, hello. Thank you so much for joining in. So that's how things shake up for now. I'll join you first thing tomorrow morning with a look at the forecast as we get ready for the rest of the work week, and we continue to look at the Thursday, Friday scenarios. For those that are, again, just joining us for the first few times, we do this 3 times a day. This is the last of the 3, usually morning, midday, and around this time. And the forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app, available for Apple and Android users. Your fish and game forecast, which even if you're not a fisherman or fisher person, an angler, if you're not a sports person of any sort, hunting, fishing, and all that stuff, it still has a lot of really, really solid weather information. It has your kind of hour-by-hour temperature and rain chance forecast, wind forecast. That's all made possible by First South Farm Credit. We do that at 8 p.m. on most nights. So if you just need a kind of a quick hitting look at the forecast, a lot of basics, sunrise, sunset information, that's all there as well. That comes out at 8 o'clock every night. I'll join you first thing tomorrow morning with a look at the forecast as well. And thanks so much for making this part of your day. Of course, as I mentioned, forecast gets a smidge more important as we go into the latter parts of the week. For the first several weeks and months of the Digital Weather Desk powered by CenturyNext Bank, there really hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. But the weather forecast will need your attention later this week, and we'll be here to provide updates as needed. Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.